Hey, what's going on, guys? Me, Mortimer here. I was sort of hoping I'd have this video out by at least last Thursday, though ideally like a week before it's actually released. But one of the subjects I'm covering hadn't been announced then, and also I thought Charlie was going to be filming this episode, but he forgot to get around to it, and then went on holiday on Wednesday, a day before the video was meant to release. So yeah, I'm doing it. First of all, Ember. I guess I have just decided now that I mainly cover any changes to Ember, regardless of whether they're in the general Central Scotland area we tend to cover or not. From this coming Wednesday, the 9th of July, Ember will be launching a new Service E6 between Scrabster Pier in Thurso and Inverness, with stops in Wick, Dunbeath, Brora, Tane, and Dingwall. There will be 4 return trips a day on all days of the week. An adult single from Thurso to Inverness and vice versa is only £14.70, and you are now able to book tickets for it already, which is cool. This comes after a couple announcements for Glasgow services, where Ember announced that from the 23rd of June 2025, they would be adding a new 4th return service from Glasgow to Fort William on their E5 route, alongside introducing several new stops on the E5 in places such as Balloch, Luss, Crianlarich, Glencoe Village, and Corn Ferry, alongside now moving the Service E3 from using Yutong TCE 12s to Yutong GTE 14s, providing an extra near 50% increase on seating capacity on all journeys, with the Service E3X being withdrawn, which ran from Glasgow to Perth City Centre, and in the case of like one journey a day, onwards to Dundee. Next up, some Midland Bluebird routes are getting changed due to contract changes within SPT, or Strathclyde Partnership for Transport, so I'm going to rattle through all the Midland Bluebird changes pretty quickly. First of all, the contract for Service 312 between Coatbridge and Calder Crooks via Airdrie is being handed off to Arg Travel. The route only runs on Sundays and I think Monday to Saturday evenings as well, and from what I've heard, I think Arg Travel are apparently pretty good, at least compared to McGill's, so yeah. Additionally, Service F2, which runs from Falkirk to Limerick, with some evening journeys extended to Calder Crooks, will have all its journeys to Calder Crooks cancelled, because I assume SPT have just withdrawn their funding for that. Additionally, Midland Bluebird are taking over the 72, 178, 178A, and 178B from Craigs of Cumbernauld, with some slight changes to all the routes. I think the 178A is going to start from the Larbert bus depot instead of wherever it started originally. I can't actually remember because I know pretty much absolute nout about Craigs of Cumbernauld. But yeah, I said that there were going to be some light changes. The 72 has basically been doubled in length. Originally, it ran between Buchanan Bus Station in Glasgow and Kirkintilloch. However, it is going to run up to Kilsyth and then link onto the old 35 route, with the 35 now being withdrawn from next week, and extending from Kirkintilloch to Kilsyth and then onwards to Banton and Falkirk, with the total journey, I think, only taking about an hour and 45 minutes, so not a hell of a lot slower than the X37. I forgot to mention this in the actual episode itself, but the Midland Bluebird 72 will take a slightly different route from Buchanan Bus Station up to Springburn compared to the old Craigs of Cumbernauld 72. I'm personally excited to try these new routes under Midland Bluebird. I know nothing about Craigs of Cumbernauld, so I'm not too upset about them being moved under Midland Bluebird, especially since I'm one of the 3.5 sociopaths who thinks the hatred for McGill's is maybe a bit over the top. Like, they're still a pretty rubbish company, but anyway, this is just meant to be me covering news, not expressing my vulgar opinions to the public, so yeah, let's stop that. I would like to cover more of the general SPT changes, but I know very little about routes run under SPT, so I think I'm just going to leave it with the Midland Bluebird stuff, and maybe this time next year I'll probably be covering all of it. Next up, Flixbus are claiming to be launching a new service between Edinburgh and Glasgow. In reality, this isn't exactly the case. It is just the same old 090. However, it's getting more stops introduced instead of literally just stopping at Heart Hill services and then like every 2 hours at Deer Park in Livingston. The new stops along the O90 will be Princes Street, Haymarket Station, Edinburgh Zoo, Corstorphine for Drumbrae, Ratho Station, and Newhouse Park and Ride, which I thought was the exact same as Maxim Park, but it's apparently different. The route will also still be stopping at Heart Hill services, and I think all journeys will now serve Deer Park, which is exciting. The Flixbus website is saying that buses will now depart every 30 to 35 minutes instead of a consistent every half-hour frequency. But I think all journeys will probably start and end at Edinburgh bus station now instead of just starting at fucking it. I do believe all journeys on the O90 will now start and end at Edinburgh bus station as opposed to some of them starting and ending at Waterloo Place. I think all the journeys before 11 a.m. and after 5:30 p.m. for some reason started and ended there. But yes, I am excited for the new stops along the route, but I'm still probably just going to use the 900 instead, as nice as it is that I can just take the O90 from Shanwick Place now if I have a tight connection from a bus from Lothian Road. So yeah, that's cool. Anyway, I'm going to get to editing this now. I had about, 10 videos I needed to edit from a couple days ago. However, I started new ADHD medication the other day, and they just made me extremely productive to the point where today I have edited about 10 videos. I have managed to unload my dishwasher, file through a bunch of old clothes I don't want anymore, make all the beds in my house, and also make myself scrambled eggs twice.
In the span of an hour and a half, mind you.
For some reason. So, yeah, I'm gonna get to editing this now, and then probably just die, so yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Jesus Christ, that was a absolute piss take of an outro.